It's the 6th of October 2017, and it's been 2 years. Yeah, almost 2 years to the day, or maybe at least to the month, that I stopped work on this, my underground greenhouse. So sitting here for 2 years and letting the elements get to it, I want to show you what's happened and why this wasn't such a good idea, and a couple of reasons why it was. So come on down here with me and I'll show you. Okay, now the original idea that I had was that this dirt on both sides normally stays very, very, very dry. It's clay mostly, and actually at the runoff it's downhill going this way. So most of the stuff runs off before it can get into the ground down here. And I'm on a hill. So the premise I had was if I can put it up and get it all put up before the rains come and stuff like that, and keep the water out of the dirt back there, it'd probably stand up. And actually in most places where, I figured that, it did stand up. But there's a couple other things wrong with it here. As you can see, I don't know if it'll show you, but if you can see this down here, if you can see this way down here, some of the walls have buckled in. They haven't buckled from the bottom. They've buckled really, some of them from the top, because of the pressure, filling it in wrong that I did. I didn't fill it in properly, and then it settles, and then I didn't get this side. So there's a lot of pressure on these walls. So the bottom line is, again, the reason I built this is because I wanted to have a sunken wallapini type thing and be able to grow things down here in the winter without additional heat. Now I haven't given up on this, but this is the wrong way to go about it. And I had a Russian friend who commented, and he politely told me in the middle of building this that this was, I was out of my mind, but he's probably correct. Anyway, so what I'm going to do with this is in the next year, I'm going to build a large greenhouse on top of this and keep this ground. Keep this like it is, except probably tear all of the structure out of it. And the wood. The reason for that is that it's still below grade here. And I can still have plants in here, probably, that are protected by the insulation of the ground. So I'm not going to give up on this. I'm going to let the walls basically slough off. And let me explain what I mean by that. I found that no matter where you are, if you have a dirt wall that gets, about 60 degrees slope to it, somewhere in there, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, it stops sloughing down. In other words, the tops, it stops eroding by itself, just of its own weight. So what I'm going to do is take all this wood out and just let the walls naturally come down to where, where they have a slope, where it'll be stable. And then I'm going to build a covering over that, a greenhouse over that, and use it that way. And let me show you up here what I've got. Now, if you can see this behind me, that's the roof line of where we just were, down in that underground greenhouse. And I guess the ground level is probably, that hole from grade level is probably 5 feet deep. But see what I want to do, and let me show you, let me take the camera and show you what I've got here. Now, as I was building the greenhouse, I was taking dirt out of there and spreading it out over here. So, as you can see, I've got a nice, long, large, flat area that has been settling. And to demonstrate what I mean by the, when you get a certain slope to the ground, it stops eroding. Let me take you over to this area right here. Now this is where I've been dumping the dirt, and as you can see, it erodes down. Well, it doesn't erode, it's been dumped down there. And it doesn't want to erode any more than that. It's stable like that. So I'm going to be building on top of this because like it's a couple of years old now and it's been run over by the tractor many times. So, and this winter it'll get, you know, snow and everything on top of it. So it'll compact down even more, I think, a little bit. So we're going to put a greenhouse on this area right here, and we'll use that for the underground part of it where I may have storage tanks, water tanks, and other things to store heat or and things like that. So that is what became of the underground greenhouse that I had a long series on. And if you stop that, I actually fell off a ladder in there. If you want to see that episode, you can look at that. I'll put a little icon up to see that if you want to see me fell down. But anyway, there it is. Let's go up here a little closer. Yeah, let's come around here, and as you can see, I filled this all in with dirt here, and as the pressure of the dirt just pushed that, as you can see, it caved right in. And over there, you know, it caved in. See, I haven't even had any problems with ground rot or anything like that yet. The pressure of the ground itself has done all this damage. You see how that roof line is all crooked? Anyway, lesson learned. This is not the way to do it. But if you get a nice clean line here that you can dig and get a nice clean slope here for all the dirt, of its own weight, it'll stabilize itself. So that's what I'm going to do. So stay tuned for next year when I build a nice greenhouse that covers this entire area here. And we'll go from there. So hope this was enjoyable and educational and worth something to you. Don't do it this way. It's a good exercise program, I have to admit that, but it's not practical, so do something else.